go ahead and hide this. Okay, so the first step of improving your efficiency and workflow is obviously taking control of your timeline. Not obviously. That's not obvious. Come on, Chris. That's like Jason saying, obviously I'm pretty good at jumping rope.
Well, obviously I did pretty good at this guy.
But it's not obvious.
But it wasn't, because you went for like 2 seconds.
One stand-up, it's going to follow me for the rest of my life.
It was a good effort. I applaud your effort.
Thank you.
You'll notice on the timeline on these clips, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this. Actually, I'm just going to make sure that fits there. You'll notice that we have this opacity on your video track here. You have this opacity level here, and you have this yellow line. And this is kind of a nightmare. I don't know if you guys have dealt with this. Like whenever you're moving a clip, sometimes you don't move the clip, but you'll move the opacity down, then all of a sudden your clip is officially black. And you're like, what just happened? I don't know what happened. It's crazy. So there's a few things that you should do, like especially when you're rough cut editing, when you're just kind of moving stuff around. Don't worry about your opacity. And the quickest way to do that is you'll notice that we have this little tab here. First of all, you need to figure out that this triangle collapsible drop-down box. That'll make your tracks even larger and give you a little more information that you can work with. And so if we look at that, we can show keyframes or just hide keyframes, and then that just gets rid of that altogether. So now you can kind of cut up that clip, do what you need to do with it, and then if you need to drop opacity on it or you need to do anything else with it, you can do that.
Now, why would you drop opacity on it?
In case you're like doing like a superimposition, you're superimposing two clips together, and so you would want the top clip to be a little less opaque, and then you see both the clips.
So it'd be over top one.
Exactly. Yeah. You ever watch like a Neil Young live performance,
Yeah, and they kind of.
and like superimposes the two shots?
Yeah.
A big
The
close-up face on the right side, and then him
Super
going
hero
like
guitar
this
riff shot.
on the left side. That's all superimposed. So that's what that is. Yeah. Old man, take a look at my life. Okay. So yeah, but yeah, we'll go, and so you'll notice that even when you have that keyframe there, it is crossed out. So you know exactly that's crossed out, and we can come back up to here and we can show the keyframes again. And you have a few options up here on these keyframes as well. You have a motion keyframe that you can use. You have opacity. You have time remapping. That's the speed one, and a transform as well. And so it's well, the transform is actually because I put a transform clip on there, and so you can actually change it to any of these things, and you can just go to the width, and you can actually move that. Now I can move this line. Whoops. Oh wow, that did some work, didn't it? I don't know why I did that. But anyway, you can go to time remapping and we can select speed, and we did the lecture on time remapping and speed, and this is how you do that. But you can always hide that in case you don't want to be messing with any of those things there. And so I'll go ahead and hide that again. I'll hide those keyframes. You can set the display style up for your video clip. So if you can see here, on this untitled clip, we can show the head and tail, and you'll notice that we start on black and we end on black, and that's not really effective for us, considering this clip is 30 minutes long. This is the newscast from yesterday. Or you can come in and you can do show frames, and so you can see that shows the frames in the clip, so you can kind of see what's going on. And if we actually zoom in on this, you'll notice that there's more. It gets more specific to the actual moment in time that it's there, and so on there. If we come back over to this, most editors find that kind of annoying to see all those clips in there, though. And quite honestly, it's really easy just to scrub your playhead over it. And so I usually just like to show the head only, or some people just like to show the name of the clip. But if you don't have a proper naming convention, for the example here, this is untitled clip 1. That's not going to really do you a lot of good. So it's important to name your clips if you're going to just show the name there. So I'll go ahead and move back to the head only here. Audio is very similar. So you'll notice that we have this drop-down menu of this, And we'll go ahead and pop this out like so. And I'll go ahead and press the tilde key. You guys know the tilde key. If you have a certain box selected and press tilde, that makes that certain box bigger. And it's nice because you can actually kind of look at this and kind of figure this out. Audio is very similar. You have the keyframes here. You can hide the keyframes. You can change the different levels here. You can come over to here and you can show the name only or the waveform. Waveform is nice because you can actually do a lot of different editing there with things like that. Also, but that's pretty self-explanatory here. It's the audio keyframes and things like that are very similar to the video ones as well. If you want to add like a track, an audio track or a video track, it's pretty darn easy. There's a few different ways to do it, but you can come over here and you can right click in this little any one of these little boxes and you can add tracks, and that's going to bring up a video menu here, and it'll say add one track after video 3, and then you come to the audio track here, add audio track, one audio track after audio 3. And you can change that to as many as you want, and I can come here and do the same thing. I'll put 2, so I'm just going to add 2 tracks here, and now I have video 5 through audio, 1 through 5 on the video, 1 through 5 on the audio. If you just want to add a track instead of tracks, you can just add, actually there was a way to do that.
Yeah, you just hit 0 for whatever you don't want to add. So.
Okay, yeah. Or you can just come up into the sequence and you can actually say, where was it? Add track. There's one way just to add a track. So you don't have to worry about that. But you can come into the sequence and do the same thing. And then you can do that. Also, I'm going to go ahead and shrink this down. And I'm going to give myself my timeline a little bit more real estate. I'm going to drop these down so I can actually do that. You can actually, I'll just put this clip on top of itself over and over again here. Sorry. But if you're running out and you need to quickly add one, you can just go right here with it, and it'll add video 6 there. And that's an easy way to do it. Let's see here. Add right click, add track. Oh yeah, if you just want to add a track, you can right click on the timeline itself. Where is it? Interesting. I know I could have done this before. Add tracks, delete. No, that's pretty much it. So yeah, pretty easy to add tracks. The other important thing is renaming these video and audio tracks here. This is good. This will be quite helpful to help you become a little more efficient. To rename it, you just right click where that is, and if it's the video track, this is obviously going to be your A-roll or narrator track or anything along those. So you just name that A-roll, and then you can come up to video 2, right click, rename, call that B-roll. You come up to here, you can put rename, you can name that name super. And you can actually give this a little bit more real estate here too. Nope. So you can actually see what it's saying there. Video 4, we can right click, rename, you can call that the bug. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. So the bug would be like if you have a little logo that needs to go there, that's where you put it. This is efficient it just helps you know exactly where to put your tracks. Audio, you'd want the same thing. If you're going to rename that, you just rename that narrator track. Audio 2, possibly music. Audio 3 could be NATS, natural sound. So you can get nice natural sound pops coming on your news stories or whatever story that you want there. So you can really get organized with that, and that can be very helpful. Why would that be helpful? Any type of feedback will be good here. How many of you had Kenzie? How does your timeline look the first time you were editing something?
Looks pretty crappy.
Why?
All over the place.
Why was it all over the place?
For me, it was nice to see where I had, like, where the breaks would happen in
Uh-huh.
my timeline, if that makes sense, where you have B-roll or something else.
Right.
For me, it makes sense. It made sense to do it that way, but
How about now?
I do it just like everybody else does.
Okay. Would naming him something like this would this be advantageous for you?
Uh, in most cases, yes.
Okay.
I do like to see. I don't know. When I look at the photo, you can see all the pictures. So
Sure. That's entirely up to you. So, yeah. But keeping your A roll and your B roll and your name supers and your graphics and your bugs and all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah, especially if you're just coming in with, if you need to have specific audio in specific places there. So I'm going to go ahead and delete some of these, and we can move on to the next portion there. Let's say you just want to add a video only edit. It's really easy. All you have to do is bring this clip up into the timeline or up into your source menu, and you'll notice that you have, if you just want the video for a certain section, you can. I'm going to go ahead and delete all these out so you can kind of see what's going on here. You can just grab this and drag this right to here. And we're going to keep the existing settings. And you'll notice that the only thing I grabbed was video there. If I just want the audio of this clip, I could do the exact same thing and just drag the audio of that clip. And so you can mark ins and outs, and if you just want a specific portion of sound, that's how you do that. Another really important thing, I'm going to go ahead and make this a bit bigger. You notice that I'm going to go ahead and get these selected to what they need to be here. I'm going to delete these guys out, and you'll notice I'm going to come back in. If I want to, let's say I just grab this clip and just press the period key, you'll notice that that came in on the V1 and A1 and A2 track there. If I want the video to come in on the B-roll part, you have to change that track and deselect anything else there. So I'll go ahead and delete this, and we'll see what this does now. Hello. Where did that go? Interesting. Let's try that again. Interesting. Let's try it like that. Because the way, where is that going? Oh, that's interesting. That's not how this is supposed to work, guys. I apologize.
You have to do that outside one too.
Let's see what this does. That's fascinating. Well, usually if you
Snaps it to the right.
maybe it's because I had all these other ones selected too. I don't know, but usually when you have different tracks selected, it should snap it. It should, if I have that selected and this selected,
I've tried it once too and it didn't work.
That's really weird because it usually works. I'm really shocked that it's not working. What the what? That's odd.
Yeah, I've tried it a couple times and I think it's worked either. You've showed us.
Yeah.
Does it have anything to do with what you have those on the left side where you have the?
Let's try it. No. That's really weird because I've done this before and it's worked. This is really weird. Let's see here. Shift click should turn off all the tracks, because that's usually what this is. That's what this is about here. Is that you should be able to target your tracks and then you should be able to drop them in on there. Usually that works. So I apologize if that's not working. But targeting tracks is a very important thing while editing. Because once you lay down your A track and your A audio, you want to start putting some B-roll audio and some B-roll and some B-roll audio on top of that. And you want to quickly do it. You should just be able. You could just target the. Maybe I have to put it. Oh, let's try this, guys. I think I've got a solution to this problem. So it comes down. You have to have some video on that first track before it'll actually work. So I'll go ahead and select, lay it like so. Now watch this, and then I'll go ahead and press that.
Try it.
What?
The old-fashioned way, it sucks.
No, that totally blows. That totally blows.
Yeah, thanks, driver.
No, this is a flaw. That is that's a flaw. There's something wrong here. There's a bug, because I've done this before and it's worked. So I'm a little flabbergasted right now, quite honestly. This is really weird. I apologize for this. Because if I bring this playhead back over here, oh my gosh. Okay, let's try this again here. Period. Now it's not dragging anything down. Let's try this again. Okay, let's do some tweaking. Is it working on yours, Dan?
No, it's not. I tried turning snap off from the blue.
So shift. Whoa. It's weird though, because look at this. I'll go ahead and I'll move this back over here. I'll put that about right there, and then I'll bring this down and look where the playhead goes.
Yeah,
It goes where the clip
that's
would
what
be.
mine is doing too. And I tried doing insert, and it would actually insert a gap as long as the clip would.
That's really weird. Usually this works, guys, and unfortunately there's something going on with that, and that's really bizarre. And I'll do some more work on that, and I'll let you know. But usually this works. Targeting tracks is a really effective way, an efficient way, when it works, to put stuff down your timeline, because you don't want to be dragging it and going like this, and then okay, I've got to move this up here like so, and then I've got to move these down, and then I've got to put this over like that. That's a pain in the butt.
It is.
That's like a 10-step process compared to just targeting your tracks and then pressing the period key to get it down there.
I tried to do this, and I couldn't do it either.
Yeah, I've been doing it the old-fashioned way myself.
That's really unfortunate. But sorry, continue doing it the old-fashioned way. But if you can get it to work this way, another quick way to like unselect your tracks and then reselect is just press Shift-click, and that'll deselect everything. That is really weird. Does it have anything to do with these guys? Let's try that. Oh, I need to select these now.
It is. You have to drag the V and A1 on.
That's what it is.
You shouldn't have to do that though. Let me turn these off.
So that's almost as long as yours will have.
Exactly. Let's try it this way here. So I've unselected those. No. That's bizarre. Because I've done this before without actually having to choose those tracks.
You think those the V and then the A1 and A2 are supposed to be every time you click they're supposed to move by themselves, and you have some setting where you have to move them manually?
Possibly. But that
If you
seems
click video 3 right now, the V would move off by itself.
that seemed to fix it. But here's the thing, though: if you're actually doing it this way, you're laying down your A track first, then you're laying down your B track, and then your other stuff. Yeah, you want to do it in steps anyway. So this is a easy way to do that. But shift, like I said, shift click before turns that off. It's really weird though. I don't really like having to move that around. That shouldn't have to be the process there.
Probably a way to lock it.
Assign source video.
Yeah, I tried deselecting that to see.
But that's how you do it. Apparently you have to move that around and you have to move everything else to crap around. So I don't know. Maybe if let's look at this. Let's try it this way. Let's just drag something in now. Let's just drag this guy over now because it's not coming from the source. Nope. Now that's a pain in the butt. I'm sorry. Anyway, but targeting tracks can be an efficient way to actually edit your video and bring it down. So, let's talk about visibility. So if I bring these clips down, let me move this guy. Let me move these real quick, sorry. And so if I do this here, if I pop that in, track visibility is a really important one. So if you have a client come in and they kind of want to look at the video, but you don't want to show them all the other stuff, you have all sorts of different edits, you can just turn the visibility off on that top track. And it'll only play what's here.
That's right.
So when we come into this here,
Violence Information Office, who sponsored it, hopes this event will keep getting bigger each year.
so let's come into right here on this clip.
The
Oh,
Cache
there's-
Valley dump is full. Victoria Cardin shows you where your trash is going
you notice that it didn't cut to that clip, but if we turn this on,
to go now. It's a hot chocolate kind of
it's going to come right into that. So targeting tracks with visibility is an important thing. You can do the same thing with audio. Just think of the eyes as the same thing as this. So you can turn each of these off, and then it won't be there. And if you export it with those off, it won't show up either. So that's another important thing to remember. But it's kind of nice if you just want to. For the audio, is what I like to do. I like to go through and I'll lay down all my track for B-roll, for everything, for Nat Sound, and I'll mute everything but the A-roll and make sure my A-roll track sounds really good. It's coming in at negative 12 decibels. I'll make sure, then I'll come in and I'll mute the A-roll and just unmute the B-roll, and I can make sure that that should be coming in at a non-competing level as my A-roll, except for Nat Sound, those pops where I want that Nat Sound to come in. And so that's a good. That's how I like to use the muting of the sound or the visibility issues there. And then I'll come in with my music and make sure that that's coming in at the proper levels and all sorts of other stuff there too. So, yeah, and then locking tracks is another really important one here. So I'm going to go ahead and make this tab just a bit bigger. If you come up into here and you lock that track, you can't move that. That's no longer, you cannot move that track. It's done. Like you can't do anything with it. You can't adjust levels on it.
You can't add to it either, right?
No, that track is locked. You can't put anything on there. And so that one's really nice if, let's say you've got like a piece of music that you're editing to, and you don't ever want to touch that. So you would lock that track, and then you would put video on top of that. That'd be a great use for the montage assignment or anything along those lines. And so locking tracks can be effective, or if you're working with a piece of video that you don't want to edit at all, like a background for a green screen. You know that you have a specific time set that needs to be there. You want to lock that down as well. And so there's a few things that you can work with here. What does this button here do? Toggle sync lock. That's for other stuff here. Yeah, and there's all sorts of other buttons that you can come in and kind of look at. Actually, there's not. We discussed everything with those. Also, there's a history panel. So if you come up to, if you come over here and it's just under Window, and you open up the history panel, it's similar to Photoshop. And so you can come back in time and go to like that delete clip. But the minute you start editing again, it's going to delete everything in front of it. Does that make sense? So if I do an edit here, if I drag this down on top of here, I no longer have all that other history. So you have to be careful. The history panel is nice if you need to go back to something, but just remember the minute you start editing after you've gone back, you can no longer go forward to what you had done. So that just comes into the save early, save often technique there. So any questions with improving efficiency, editing efficiency and workflow there? I was hoping I'd have some time for the effects, but we'll talk about that on Friday. So,
Are we having boss Friday?
that's a good question. What do you guys? Let me go ahead and stop this recording.